All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mark Raymakers with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Thank you so much for taking time to join us here for this very special, unique product that we've got out there today for the senior market. And with us, we have John Enting, and John is a producer himself. He's the one that introduced this product to us here a few years ago, and who better to have us help us with this than someone who's an expert in this product. So, John, thank you for taking time out of the field today to help us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Absolutely. We are going to record this for you as well, so we'll shoot this over to you here probably by the end of the day, give you a chance to review it and familiarize yourself more with the product. I will tell you that we do have a follow-up presentation. Now, this is going to be for contracted agents, so if you opt to go ahead and get on board with us here with this carrier, we will have you out for the sales training where we'll go through, John will again join us with that, and he'll go through some of the objections and closings, and just a great webinar that you most certainly want to attend. And I can tell you from experience that those that attend that event hit the market hard and start seeing their first applications come in. So let's go ahead and move on here this morning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the benefits and incentives that we provide here for our producers. And the thing that we do here is a new producer bonus. It's a 3-tier approach. You can redeem at any level that you choose, but once you've done that, there's no looking back. So once redeemed, there's no option or opportunity to claim another level. So let's say the first level, if we do $100,000 in this product we talk about today, or single premium or dollar for dollar again on the annuity side, what we'll do is we'll allow you to choose between either a $750 cash bonus or a 2-year subscription to the website newsletter service. This is a neat option here if you wanted to go ahead and get that set up right away and maybe pay for that. Josh in our office can help you get set up. It's just 1-day turnaround time. So you can earn it or buy it. And if you choose not to take advantage of either one of those two, there's the free iPad. The next one you see is the 300,000 level. You can get involved here with a full Social Security program and 3,000-piece postcard mailing. This is a great way to get in front of more senior buying agents and or units, I should say. If you did not earn it but wanted to go ahead and buy into the program, that is available for sale as well. Anyone in the annuity marketing department can help you with that. Or you could take advantage of the $2,000 matching marketing money to promote your business any way you like. Then finally, there's a $1,500 gift card as you please there. You can purchase whatever you want with that. Lastly, there's the 500,000 level, and this is for those, the first two options are for those that are interested in seminar selling. Maybe you've done this in the past, you want to get back in it again. The first option is the 5,000-piece mailing and seminar coaching with Matt Gill. Matt is a great producer of ours. He's a top producer, qualifies for every trip, and he does it through seminars, so he's a great mentor for you there. Or you could take advantage of Dave Pimpers. He's got a 4,000-piece mailing and seminar coaching. Same with Dave, a top producer of ours, qualifies for all the trips. They both have a great program, a little bit different. So either one of those you could take advantage of. Or finally, the Ritz-Carlton Travel Rewards, make your own getaway. We love to have trips. We love to celebrate your success, and we do that every other year with our Top Producers Escape. Our 2018 is going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Boulders Resort and Spa. Beautiful location. And here's how it works. If you look at the bottom, you'll see there's a number of different products we've got available. So any product, maybe you specialize in annuities only, or you do a little bit of everything. Everything that you write with us goes towards the qualification of the trip. And the qualification started July 1st of last year, goes until December 31st of this year. There was plenty of time to qualify. It's a total of 2 million points. And the trip date's February 25th through the 28th. Love to see you there. That is for producer and guest. Now, our creative services team, Josh Tricard in our office, and his team can help you provide or put together anything you need from basic marketing all the way up to a television advertisement. So if you're looking to maybe brand yourself, get yourself out there a little bit more through social media, radio, or television, they can help you. Certainly call and ask for Josh, and he can explain how the program works and what he can do for you. And I can tell you from what I've seen, they do a great job out there. Including this, for example, obviously, if you look at setting up these different, web leads or client management tools, certainly want to encourage you to take advantage of that as well. There's just so many great things that we can do that can help you to grow your business. And the feedback that we're receiving from this has been tremendous. So be sure to mention this as well to Josh when you call in. We're real big on training, obviously. You'll notice our webinar schedule. We've got something set up for every day of the week. Sometimes we have 2 webinars a day. But one thing that we like to do is have off-site trainings. And one of the things we do is basically it's a 3-day event. Shoot, my poll's not working on this. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you're interested in attending this event, we've got it's coming up here in May, and it's the 3rd week of May, 17th through the 19th. And actually, John will be there for this. Dave, Matt will be there. They show their presentations as well. So what we do is we bring all kinds of speakers in from across the country to share with you some of the top sales ideas out there. There's a great opportunity for you to share some sales ideas, learn some sales ideas from other producers that are successful in this business. And, I got started in '88, and some of the best sales ideas I've ever heard were at these particular training academies. We fly you in on a Wednesday. So we cover your airfare, we cover your meals, we cover your lodging. There's some short presentations Wednesday evening, all-day training on Thursday, half-day training on Friday, and get you back in your office. And so if you're interested in getting an invitation, maybe potentially attending this event in May, I would encourage you to type Academy in the question box, or yes, I should say, either way. And then what we'll do is we'll make sure that we reach out to you with an invitation and an application. And we generally have 3 of these a year, by the way. So if you can't do the one in May, there's going to be more to follow. Okay, so, whoops, getting a little excited there. Paperless contracting. Here's something that's really nice. If you opt to get contract with National Guardian Life today, and I think after you see John's presentation, you'll see why this is such a great complementary product. You'll complete the contracting document. And what will happen is, if you ever need to or want to add an additional carrier on with us, all you have to do is speak with your marketer, and they'll go ahead and they'll get you set up with that carrier. There's no need to complete any additional paperwork. So that's our paperless contracting. Be sure that you call and ask for that. Our website, if you haven't been there, I encourage you to take a few minutes to check us out. It's www.iamsinc.com. You're going to see a lot of great stuff out there. Anywhere from different sales tools. If you're looking for term rates, actually, if we ever were to run a quote for you, we go right on our own website to do that. The nice thing is everything's out there for you. Forms, contracting, if you want to do the old-fashioned way of filling out a contract for every carrier, you can certainly do that. There's also information about our life and annuity news. Our different products are out there as well. So take a minute, review that, and become more familiar with what we can do for you. Something we've just recently added, obviously, with the Department of Labor, there's been a lot of talk about that. And now IAMS is actually set up where we can help you. We've got our own RIA set up. You see there's a number on the bottom of the screen there. Call and ask for Charles Jr. if you're looking for a place maybe to run your business through. Charles can tell you all the benefits and services that we make available to you. So if you're series licensed, and obviously there's a lot of talk about what's happening out there today, what you can and can't do with your current broker dealer, Charles Jr. will simplify that for you and provide you a nice, comfortable home to run your business through us there. So that's the IAMS Wealth Management, 888-255-7670. Okay, a program that we make available to is a retirement analyzer. If you're looking for a holistic approach to help your clients through planning, obviously, the Retirement Analyzer program is a very detailed, very beneficial way to do some fact finding, and then to help your clients determine whether or not they can retire, and or if they can, at what age. So it's a really neat program. I certainly encourage you to call and ask for anyone in the annuity department that can get you set up there. Okay, my last slide here, and I'm going to turn it over to John. I'm sure you're probably all just chomping at the bit here to learn about this product. So last one here, Referred Producer Program. The way this works is, if you refer an agent to us and they get contracted, we send you a check for $50. It's basically a thank you for the referral. In addition to that, what we'll do is we will provide for a 20 basis point cash bonus to you for all the business that they write. So, for example, if you send us 3 agents that write a combination of $1 million in NGL, annuities, single premium life, however that would be, we're going to send you a check for $6,000. Now, the nice thing about this, as long as they're running business through us here, you're going to continue to receive a quarterly check. And I can tell you that this works great. We've got agents that are collecting over $10,000 a year in this particular program. So you're not in the commission business. You don't have to worry about that. You're not taking a hit in commission. Neither is your referral. They're going to still receive the same competitive industry street commissions for the products that are offered. And then the last thing here is our marketing reimbursement. This is something a lot of our advisors just don't take advantage of, and I'm not really quite sure why that is, but let's get it out there in front of you. You get contracted. You write $100,000 in NGL. What we're going to do is we're going to put $200 into a marketing reimbursement account for you. And whenever you decide to use those dollars, whether you're purchasing leads, you're hosting a seminar, maybe you need a new stamp machine for your office or a TV for your lobby. A lot of agents use this for customer appreciation. So let's say that you've got a party. You're going to do a customer appreciation this summer. You spend $1,000. All you have to do is email or fax a copy of your receipt. We're going to turn around and send you a check for $500. In other words, 50% of whatever your expense is. So you can accumulate this. We have some agents that get it up to $3,000 to $5,000, and then they have a huge customer appreciation event at the end of the year, and we've just cut that party expense for them in half. So keep in mind that's one of the great things that we do for you here, and it's pretty open as far as what you want to do. We have an advisor that basically remodeled and really fancied up his office with his reimbursement dollars. So this is an opportunity for you to cut your expenses in half in addition to your commission. Okay, with that said, oh boy. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something here real quick, folks. Got a little issue here, John. All right, you know what? I'm going to have to put y'all on hold here for one quick second. I'm sorry. Just one sec.
Hang in there, people.
So what you gotta do. So we're working on it, folks. We had some cabling issues this morning, and it looks like we had a little disconnect here as far as the slides are concerned for this particular presentation. So if you could just hold tight, we'll get this fixed here as quickly as possible.
Well, Mark, while you're working on that, why don't I go ahead and just get started while you're catching up? How about that?
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we can do that.
I don't want to keep everybody waiting. Well, good morning, everybody. My name's John Entang, and today we're going to be talking about the National Guardian Life Funeral Trust and how we fund that for our clients. And what I want to tell you first off is that, you know, I'm an agent in the field. I have a couple offices here in Columbus, Ohio, so I'm not sitting in a home office telling you how great of an opportunity this is. This is something we actually have implemented into our business over the last 12 years. We've been very successful with it, generated a lot of revenue, and more importantly, we've helped a lot of clients to go ahead and get their affairs in order as far as getting their funerals taken care of. So what I'm going to cover today is I'm going to talk about, first of all, the opportunity that exists with the product, and then we'll talk about the trust that is used with this product that protects your client's money. And then we'll talk about the product itself. Of course, that's what we're going to use to fund the trust. And then I'll give you a few presentation ideas and tools that you could put into action immediately. And like Mark said, I will be doing a training webinar for the licensed only agents. We have a lot of agents all over the country who are currently licensed, and they like to sit back in on that and, you know, just refresh their memory. And for the new people, it's a great way to really see how we dig in to get the sales for this product. And then we'll talk about the company itself. National Guardian Life is a very well-respected company. They're experts in this area. Like I said, I've been doing business with them for, 12 or 13 years now, probably a little bit longer if I looked at my contracting. But anyway, they're a great company to do business with, and I'll share with you, you know, some of our success stories with them and how they've helped us to really grow this business. The first thing we'll talk about actually is the opportunity with the product. A friend of mine brought this to me, you know, it's been 12 or 13 years ago, and to be quite frank, I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. I was running a very successful annuity practice, and I didn't really even think I had time to implement it. But he also told me that an opportunity not acting on will always just be an opportunity, so I needed to start talking to people about it. And the crazy thing was, once I started talking to people about it and I got my first sale, then the floodgates opened up. And at that point, it was just consistently writing business on an annual basis. So Mark, you can move through there. I see you got the slides. We're to the opportunity slide. Move on. There we go. So again, we'll talk about that opportunity. You can stay on that slide right there, Mark, and then we'll move forward. You know, as we all know, we're in the business of planning. Nothing gets done unless you have a conversation with your client. You find out what their needs and their wants are. You give them some options on how to take care of issues they might be facing. You show them how to plan to do that and where to get the money to make that happen. And that's exactly what we do with this product for our clients, because whether you're talking about retirement planning, income planning, estate planning, it doesn't really matter, and funeral and final expenses aren't any different. Someone's going to need to determine the services and to pay the bill, and the question's going to become who and when. So you got a couple options there. You can have the deceased person do their planning prior to their death, which is always a good idea, or you can leave it to the survivors afterwards. And that's what happened in my case. I had a real-life experience. My dad passed away on January 21st of 2011. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2, so I wasn't real close with my father. And I've always been kind of the businessman in the family. And so my brothers and sisters turned to me, and I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office, and the funeral director was asking me questions like, what was your dad's mother's maiden name? What was his highest rank in the service? What was his favorite flower, his favorite hymn? And these were just simply questions that I didn't know the answers to. And it really dawned on me at that point that what we did for our clients with this product and the planning guide that we give to them when we do it has a real value. Mark, you can move to that next slide. So NGL basically offers a couple different choices. The first one is what the funeral home will do, and that's plan and pay for the funeral. That's the pre-need side. I'm sure many of you out there have heard clients say, oh, I went to the funeral home and prepaid my funeral. And while that is a choice for many to take advantage of, there's also some downfalls with that. Funeral homes can go out of business. They can be bought out by new ownership, and maybe the family doesn't like the new ownership. Maybe your clients move out of the state, and now they're in a dilemma where they want to be buried in the state they're in, and they've prepaid for their funeral in the state they were originally from. So the option to fix that is to have the client pay for those anticipated expenses up front. And that's what this product does, with a simple final expense policy, and then that policy being assigned to the Irrevocable Funeral Trust. So a lot of people ask us when we're talking to them, well, how much is a funeral, John? Well, you know, it costs more than you might think. The average funeral is said to be over $14,000. And then if you look there on the right, it kind of breaks down all the cost of a funeral. And then everything you see on there can be covered under this plan. So everything we're looking at, if a client owns one of these plans, it's going to cover those expenses over there. And your client has to say to themselves, if something happened to me yesterday, how would people be taking care of my funeral today? And that's what we're here for, is we're here to give them an answer, put a solid plan in place, and kind of take that worry off the table for not only them, but as I found out firsthand, for their loved ones. So is it a huge opportunity? It really is. In a national survey, 72% of the people thought it was a good idea to pre-plan their funerals, but 64% hadn't taken any steps to do so. And I'll tell you, I work with the same clientele that most of you do out there. I'm in the senior market. Your clients aren't any different than mine. The difference is no one's asked them the question, have you prepaid your funeral, and then been able to back it up with a solution for them if their answer is no. So we all know how big this retirement market is. When I look at these numbers, I'm going to be 53 on March the 2nd, and I look at my career over the next 15 years, and man, am I in the right marketplace. The number of people who are turning 65 every day is huge, and these are the people that are thinking about these issues and trying to get their plans in place, and that's what we're here for, because by 2025, there will be almost twice as many seniors as there are today. So if you can get good with a program like this, understand it, implement it, it can really add a lot of benefit to your current practice. The other thing to consider is this. 69% of all Americans older than 65, as we all know, are going to need some type of nursing care. And what's funny about that is I do a lot of public seminars, and I'll say in the seminar that, hey, you know, one of the two of you sitting next to each other is going to need some type of long-term care, and inevitably they look at each other like the other one's the 50%. So we like to bring up to them that since we don't know who that person is that's going to need the care, we need to do some planning to protect everything that they've worked for, because as you can see there, the cost of care is $68,000 to $78,000 a year, and that number is just going to continue to grow. So this is a great conversation starter for your clients, because the people that don't have the protection in place, if they do need care, there's a good chance many of the people are going to have to try to qualify for Medicaid. And this product here will protect some of that money from the Medicaid spend down. So how's this all fit together? Well, what NGL does is they take their insurance product and they blend it with a funeral trust. So we're taking advantage of life insurance and taking advantage of placing that life insurance inside of an irrevocable funeral trust. So your clients can plan ahead. They're deciding at this point to go ahead and set aside their money for their final expenses. And by using the trust to hold it, those funds for their funeral expenses are basically being spent down. In other words, it'll help prevent that money from being counted as money during Medicaid consideration. I work with an elder law attorney. As a matter of fact, he's in the office right next door to me, and we struck up a relationship a couple years ago. And he will bring clients next door to me after he's met with them, and he'll tell them, you need to meet with John and you need to buy a funeral trust, because he understands the value of getting those dollars protected today in the event something happens in the future. So we'll talk about the trust a little bit themselves. And when we talk about the trust, these trusts are irrevocable. And the nice thing about an irrevocable trust is, especially in this planning scenario, this money is for death. This money isn't coming back out for anything else. As a matter of fact, when we do a plan with a client, we will tell them, this is irrevocable. Don't call me. Don't ask for your money out. Don't ask for your cash value. No, you can't take a loan. The only time this money is going to come out is when you pass away. But the benefit to that is protection from creditors. Those benefits are going to be paid out completely income tax free. The funds will be available immediately, and by that I mean when you pass away within 48 hours, that money is in the hands of the funeral director. There's no cost for the trust. The trusts are absolutely free. It is through National Guardian Life. There's no cost, and everyone is going to qualify for assigning their policy to the trust. And so what will happen at that point is the death benefits are used for the funeral expenses when they pass away, and that will avoid the probate cost and delays. And here's the other thing. If you remember me talking earlier about a client who may move out of state that has prepaid in say, Ohio, where I'm at, and they decide to move to Florida, these funds are totally portable. They're in control. They don't have to pick a funeral home today. They can use it at any funeral home of their choosing in the future. So again, when you add those two together, they're a pretty unbeatable combination with National Guardian Life. So how does the trust compare against traditional savings instruments? And the reason that I like this slide, this is where we see most of the deposits come from in the plans that we do for our clients. So when I'm talking to a client, this is a great client-friendly piece that is offered through National Guardian Life that really hammers home to them that, look, this is going to meet all the criteria that we're looking to meet in order to put together for you a good funeral trust plan. So now the big question is, well, how's it all work? Well, it's pretty simple in the way that it works. And again, if you're new to it, once you've done it a couple times, you'll really see the ease of using it as a planning tool. But basically what we're going to do first is we're going to find out how do they plan to pay for their funeral when they pass away. You're going to hear questions from anything that I have a CD at the bank to I have an old life insurance policy. It doesn't really matter as long as we're moving them forward in buying into the idea that it's best to get that money protected today. So once we find what the funds are, we're actually going to buy a single premium life policy. Now, it's not like a traditional single premium life. And I'll just give you an example. If a client puts in $15,000, which is the max you can do in Ohio, their death benefit may start at $15,250. But it will grow with daily simple interest every day that the money's in that policy. And so the death benefit's going to grow. We're going to assign the policy to the Irrevocable Funeral Trust, and it's going to protect that money and earn tax-free interest until the money is needed. Now, everybody loves that word, or three words, I guess, tax-free interest. So we point that out to them, and then we talk about what happens when they pass away. And basically what's going to happen is the claim's going to get paid. You know, I've been doing this long enough. I've had clients die, and the process couldn't be easier. The spouse or the kids will call my office. They'll say, hey, mom and dad have a funeral trust with you. I'll ask them what funeral provider they're using. They'll let me know. I'll call National Guardian Life. I'll give them the funeral provider's information and fax number, and then I'm out of it. National Guardian Life is going to fax that form to the funeral director. The funeral director is going to send it right back to them, and within 48 hours, the money to pay for the funeral is at the funeral home. Now, if you have, in Ohio, say we fund it with $15,000 and the funeral's only $14,000, that extra $1,000 will come back to the estate. And the reason it comes back to the estate is because we've gotten it off the table to protect it against a nursing home stay, so it has to be paid back to the estate. We cannot name a beneficiary, but again, that's a minor issue for our clients, and we've actually never had an issue with it. So that's kind of the process. Now we'll talk about the funeral trust itself, and I'll talk to you about a real nice planning opportunity with their estate planning trust. So the funeral expense trust in Ohio, we're allowed to put up to $15,000 in it and protect that money immediately. Your states are all going to be different, and I'm sure we have people from all over the country on this call. I see we have a lot of people on here. We'll show you a chart of what your state looks like. But basically what it does, it gives you the ability to exclude the assets in order to qualify for Medicaid when applying immediately. So if we have a client who says to us, hey, you know what, dad's already passed away, my mom's in a nursing home, we're spending her money down, we'll say to them, hey, let's take $15,000 of that and put it into the funeral trust so that the nursing home does not get it, and then that does not count against them applying for Medicaid. And then again, the trust will pay those funeral costs, and the excess funds will go to the estate of the insured. Now, sometimes you'll get a client who says, well, I don't really want anything going back to the estate of the insured. I think I can get my funeral done for $10,000. And we'll say to them at that point, well, then let's fund that funeral trust with the $10,000. And our next question to them will be, do you have any other money that you know you're leaving to a beneficiary that you're not going to use in your lifetime that you would like to know is protected? If they tell us yes, then we're going to talk to them after we do the funeral trust. We'll talk to them about the estate planning trust. And it works similar, except the money's not excluded day one from their estate. After 5 years of being in the trust, it's 100% excluded from spend down. So if we had a client that put $10,000 in the funeral trust and put $90,000 into the estate planning trust, after it's been in there 5 years, we've protected the entire amount of money. And then the funds, because we had a funeral trust and paid the funeral, all the funds will be returned to a beneficiary through the estate planning trust. It's a great planning tool. We've actually done a lot of business in the estate planning trust for people who are concerned about losing their money to a nursing home. So when do you use each trust? We talk about the funeral expense trust in a couple scenarios. Crisis planning, like I just told you, your client can be in the nursing home and still qualify for this plan. Maybe you're talking to a client who's sick. They're still at home, but they know they're going to have to go to a nursing home. They're looking at spending down their assets within the next 5 years, and they want to protect some money. That's a great client for this. And a lot of times we'll have just a married couple who will sit in the conference room with me and say, hey, you know what? We don't even think we're going in a nursing home anytime soon. We're pretty healthy. But what we do want to know is we've got the money set aside for it, and we want the assurance that that money is protected right now. So there's the scenario for that. Under the estate planning trust, this would be for a client where Medicaid's a non-issue. I always use the example of a couple retired teachers that I did $100,000 each into this estate planning trust. They know that they're very healthy. They're for the next 5 years and maybe never that they'll be in a nursing home, but they want to easily transfer a limited amount of wealth to their children, and they want to know that if they do go into a nursing home and they have to spend down everything else, that the money that they've put into here is 100% protected. And that's the real opportunity, because you can really pick up some big ticket applications with that particular planning. So we'll talk about the product itself with National Guardian Life. It's called the Asset Guard. That's the single premium life product. It's basically just a fixed rate product that we're going to buy. We're going to combine that with the funeral trust, and then we're going to increase that death benefit with simple interest daily as long as they have the plan, and we're going to give them secure financial protection. So when you look at the individual state limits, depending on where you are, the next slide will show you. This, again, is what we can put in Ohio. If you look at the chart there, it's $15,000. And I do know, because I have a friend of mine who uses this product in his planning, and I believe that Iowa, oh, they don't have the Iowa number on there, but I know that it's, yeah, they do, 11566. That is the correct number, and the reason I say that is if you're new to this program, you should reach out to National Guardian Life. They can give you what the updated number is for your state. As I believe right now, these are the current numbers, but as we all know, everything is subject to change. So I trust, but I would verify. So Mark, we can go by the next slide. Don't worry about that one. We're going to talk about what expenses are paid for by an irrevocable trust. Again, look on there. There's really not anything that you can see that you would run into in a funeral planning situation that is not covered through the funeral trust. So we like to show that to you. And then here for today's purposes, I'm going to talk about the single pay only. That's what we do all of our business into. I have seen recently a lot of other agents have been using the multi-pay when they have a client who's maybe taking a minimum distribution out, and they're starting to fund that every year with their minimum distribution. But for today's purposes and to move everything along, we'll talk about a single pay only. On a single pay, the minimum face amount is $500. The maximum face amount is $100,000. The growth rate, you can give them a growth rate up to 2.25%, and there's one health question on the application. So again, if they can answer that health question, that they haven't had any of those health problems, they're going to be issued standard. And if they do answer one of the health questions, that they've had a health history, they're still going to get issued, but they're going to get issued guaranteed. So again, we'll get them issued, and here's the age range. Single pay, you can do it from 0 to 99 years old. Now, why is that important? Because there's a lot of grandparents out there, and a lot of them may be your clients. How nice is it to say to a grandparent, hey, why don't you put this in there for your grandchildren, open one of these plans up, and by the time they're old and pass away and need this plan, the value in there will be substantial, and they could do the estate planning trust, because obviously we believe if they're 5 years old that they're not going to be in a nursing home anytime soon, but it can give substantial growth in there on that product and protect the money. So on this one again, one health question, no is a standard issue, yes is a guaranteed issue. The only difference is going to be in the commission to you on the product. So again, it's going to increase daily with simple growth. All single pay, which is what we do in our practice, is immediate full death benefit. So there's no, hey, you didn't own it long enough, we're not going to pay you out, or we're only going to pay you part of the benefit. It's immediate full benefit at death with a single pay. They have a child and grandchild rider. I call this a bell and whistle to the program. You'll see that on the next page here. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a $3,000 face amount. $3,000 or the face amount, whichever is lower. So if they bought a $500 face amount, it would be $500. If they bought $3,000, it would be $3,000. They pay a $10 one-time fee. It basically covers all their children and grandchildren, the base insured, from 6 months to 18 years living with a parent or guardian while the insured is living and the policy is in force. So if you sell one to your client, they're alive, one of their grandchildren or children pass away, it'll pay a one-time benefit for one of those children, and then the rider is going to terminate, and you can only get that at the time of the initial application. The thing I love most about this product is, like I told you, I own an annuity practice. I've been doing this strictly since 1993 in annuities. And what's funny is in 1993, when I wrote my first annuity application, it was 3 pieces of paper, and one of those pieces of paper was their receipt. As we all know today, to fill out an annuity application, we're looking sometimes at 30, 35 pages. And if you look at the next slide here, you'll see this product could not be easier to do. It's 2 pieces of paper and a state replacement form, and you are done. So if you don't like paperwork, you're going to love the simplicity of this product. The application's pretty straightforward. There's the top of the app. There's the statement of health, and leave it there just a second. A lot of people always say, you know, what does that look like? It's your basic thing that's going to deny people on a regular life application. The nice thing is, even if they answer yes, guess what? We can still get them issued, and you can still get paid for the business. At the bottom of it's going to be the applicant's signature. And then there's also going to be a box on the next page that you'll see that is going to be basically the receipt to the client that you acknowledge that they've given you payment. So on the next form is the assignment form. So what happens is you fill out the application and then you say to the client, that's going to take care of the life portion of it to get the policy issued. Now here's the form where we're going to assign that policy to the Irrevocable Funeral Trust. Now on here that you'll see on number 1, it says my funeral home of choice is. You can leave that blank. I never fill that in because the client can use this with any funeral home at death. So the family can make that decision. On the bottom of the policy there, they're going to sign it, and after the policy has been issued, 45 days after, that policy will be put into the funeral trust. Now there is an exception if you're dealing with someone who is in a nursing home and you know they're saying, hey, we're going to have to apply for Medicaid. We can't wait 45 days. We need this to be effective immediately. We want it issued and put into that trust the day it's issued. We can have them sign. They're basically saying, hey, I want it assigned to that trust immediately. Because we're doing planning and we need this money off the ledger sheet for our planning. The next page is going to talk about presenting to clients. This is where the rubber meets the road. When I first started selling annuities back in 1993, you know, I was just out there doing the best I could, trying to learn on the fly. But I did realize that after I'd done it enough times, and now here we are in 2016, I consider myself to be an expert in that area. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to talk to people about this if we're new agents so that we can get it down pat. And the best way to do that is to start by talking to your current clients. And the reason I say that, these are people who know you, these are people who trust you, these are people that you have probably never asked them before, have they prepaid their funeral? And the way that I would recommend that you would start that conversation would be, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm here to do your annual review. Would you agree with me that the advice I've given you in the past has been pretty solid and worked out the way we expected? And once they tell you yes, which they're going to, then the next thing is, I have another thing that we need to discuss that we've neglected in your plan, and we're going to talk about that today and get it implemented for you. So I'm going to assume that close. I'm going to review the issues. I'm going to discuss the needs. I'm going to stress the benefits of planning ahead, and I'm going to point out to them that, hey, you can go prepay at a funeral home, but you're kind of stuck. With this, we can put this money away, and it can be used with any funeral home. And here's one thing I would say to you that we do a lot of our business in, and I've seen a lot of the agents who have licensed with us through the years that have submitted applications do a lot of business. There are a lot of old life insurance policies out there. I'll give you an example. You may come across an old whole life policy that has a cash value of $10,000 and a death benefit of $11,000. Your clients don't understand that if they die, they don't get both those numbers. They get whichever is greater. So if they have $10,000 in cash value and they pass away, they get $11,000. What we'll say to our clients is, does it really make sense to leave that $10,000 susceptible to a nursing home spend down when you're really only, your benefit is really $1,000 of death benefit, because $10,000 is your money. And then we'll 1035 exchange that $10,000 into the funeral trust, and we accomplish a couple things for them. We protect the $10,000 from the nursing home spend down. We get it off the table. We give them the growth, and they know that that money is there, and it's going to be there for their final expenses when they need it the most, obviously, and that's when they pass away. And then again, The only way we get paid in this business is to close that sale. But the nice thing about this product is the client does have the peace of mind of knowing that it's done. They've planned for it. They don't have to worry about it. We don't have to talk about it anymore. It's on cruise control. So where do you find the money? Again, it's whatever money they have that they may be thinking about using to pay for their final expenses. One of the questions I usually get on this webinar that I will cover in the training webinar because time won't permit it today is when someone says, well, I already own life insurance. We'll talk about how we get over that objection and get them to keep that life insurance policy if it doesn't warrant 1035 exchanging and still put money into the funeral trust. We'll talk about that. 10% penalty-free withdrawals on annuities if your clients don't use the money that's in there. In the training, I'll talk about how you get over the tax objection of pulling the money out to fund it. Investments, savings accounts, and then, cash is king. If they just have money in their checking and savings, they can always just write a check into the program. So one of the things that I like, though I actually say I love about National Guardian Life is they have the nicest, easiest to read brochures to the leave behind pieces for your clients. To the point, I'd love to tell this story. It's actually a client I have a review with on this coming Monday, but I've already done this for them. I actually went out and talked to them about their life policies. They had a lot of cash value. The death benefit was real close to the cash value, and they were I want to think about it people, and I'm fine with that. So I left them the little brochure there on the left that says NGL Funeral Expense Trust, and I told them I would call them the next afternoon while it was fresh on their mind because it's only a fold-out trifold brochure, and we'd talk about it. And the next morning at 9 o'clock, they called my office and said, hey, we read the brochure. Let's set up an appointment and get this thing done. So it's very, very simple to use, understand, and they've updated some of these brochures as recently as January of this year. So once you're licensed, I'd encourage you to order them. They're free. If you want your company information implemented on the back of them, they'll charge a small fee, and I mean small fee for that, but you can get them personalized as well. So again, I've been doing business with them for a long time. Great people. One of the great things about this company is they're serious about this business. They're good at this business. They're experts in this business. Everyone wants to know about the financial strength of any company they're doing business with. As you can see here, we're doing business with a company that's going to be there when we need them the most, and that's when our client passes away, and they're turning to us to make sure that this gets implemented and completed. Their agent website, I will just tell you, this is invaluable. You can go on there, you can pull everything from the policy information, the service information, you can pull reports on how much business, there's training on there, but the thing that I find most valuable of this whole website is the 1-800 number for the agents that'll be listed. I don't think we can see it on this one, but it's on the bottom of the page. If you're sitting in with a client and you have a question that you can't answer, call that 1-800 number. They're going to pick the phone up immediately, and they're going to give you the right answer to help you. They want you to be as successful as you want yourself to be. So they're a great resource to help you really implement this and make it a part of your growing business. So why sell the product? It's real easy. Every one of your clients need it, and they're thinking about it. We showed you the study on that. It's a great income opportunity. I'm going to share that with you here in a minute. The trusts are free. People, usually I find with people, they have two favorite words in life, free and whatever word comes right behind it. And in this case, these trusts are free to them, and they're a great planning tool. The funds are portable to any funeral home. Again, we've talked about the company itself. Peace of mind for your clients, and again, if you hate paperwork, you're going to love this product because we're going to make it real simple for you to get your business running and not be bogged down in paperwork. And the other thing is, and I always forget that little tagline pops up on there at the bottom, if you don't do it, someone else will. That could be a funeral home, but I'm going to share with you my experience. I've been doing this product for 12, 13, 14 years. Do you know that I always ask my client if anyone has ever talked to them about this before? I have never had a client tell me yes. So that means that if you're talking to them about it, you're probably the only one doing it. And if you can get good at presenting and good at closing, you will pick up the deal. So great compensation for this product. You know, in this business, I don't know about most of you, but, you know, I like to vacation every year with my family. So I just put this illustration up there. If you just had 2 couples each month, so you wrote 4 applications, and you just put $10,000 each instead of the max of $15,000 that we can do here in Ohio, you're going to add $40,000 to your bottom line, and then you can take a couple months off. Or if you're a go-getter, you can work those couple months and you can move that $40,000 forward. I don't know about you, but I know that $40,000 an extra year to anyone will definitely cover your office expenses. And wouldn't that be nice to know that that is off the table and you've got that covered each year? So here's basically what a commission schedule looks like. We're going to focus on that left-hand 0 to 60,000, and we're giving them a growth rate of 2%. So if you look at that, let's just go to the average client that we see that we write, which is going to be somewhere between that 60 to 75 range. If they're perfectly healthy, let's say it's a 61 to 65-year-old and you're dealing with a married couple, it's 13.31% commission. 66 to 70 is 11%. Even 71 to 75 is 8.80%. But if you had a 66 to 70-year-old couple and you max funded it at $30,000, you can do the math on that. That's a pretty nice paycheck for doing a review with a current client or bringing on a new client and help them solve a problem. So this slide needs to be updated, and I'm taking responsibility for that because I meant to send that in. But I do have, this one's coming up here in March. I do have the new one. It is going to be in Punta Cana, the Dominican Republic next year from March 1st through the 6th. I will tell you, I've been on their sales conference. They are a top-class organization. They lay it out really well, and they take really good care of you. And it's a great trip and a good opportunity to network with your fellow peers that are doing this as well. So usually agents will ask me this, and we're getting real close to being done here today, but they'll say, you know, John, what have you seen that's some of the biggest challenges from agents who have licensed with this product? And it goes back to when I started selling annuities. You know, you have to get comfortable with the concept. You got to remember, too, your clients believe in pre-planning. They think it's a good idea, just no one's talked to them about it. And it's funny because I always say to my clients when we're talking to them about this, you know, everyone has good intentions of going to a funeral home and pre-planning their funeral, but how many people wake up and the husband looks at the wife and says, hey, you know what, why don't we go down and pick out our casket today? That's usually not a fun thing to do, but here we can show them how to get the money set aside, and when that time comes, that time will come. You got to learn how to present it, stress the benefits of pre-planning, and also attend the training webinar, and then keep it on the top of your mind every client, every day. It's a real simple question. Have you prepaid your funeral? It's a yes or no answer. So this is a guide for beneficiaries that we developed here at Intang Financial Services quite a few years ago. Basically, what we do with the guide is we use it on our reviews where we collect the data from the clients. We update all their current financials. And then we have a question on there that says, have you prepaid your funeral? If they tell us no, we circle that, and we know we're going to circle the wagon and come back to it. Our successes with that, when we implemented this guide, we picked up over $1.5 million in new annuity premium, a couple $100,000 in single premium life, and also about $150,000 in National Guardian life. And practice makes perfect, so the more you work with this product, obviously, the better you'll become. So this is what the guide for beneficiaries looks like. Obviously, ours says Intang Financial Services. The reason we did this is when someone passes away in a home that we're in, we don't want them calling another advisor. We want them calling us because we know there's an opportunity either to work with the surviving spouse or to work with the children of those clients. We don't want them calling the bank or the broker. We want them to call us, and we want to get in there and take charge and help them settle the estate so that we have the opportunities that should be afforded to us through our hard work. Now, this guide will be made available to you once you license in a PDF format that you can get customized with your company information on it if you choose to use it. This is the organizer that we use in it. And really, it's all going to be all your basic information, but where we picked up a lot of extra money, you think your clients tell you everything. I got news for you. They don't always tell you everything, even though you should, and they should, and you ask the right questions. But we're going to go through their financial information, and when we get to this next page, I believe it is, one more, Mark. You're going to see on here question 8. Have you prepaid your funeral? Very important question. If you don't use this organizer and you have your own organizer you use, type that question on there so you don't forget. It's a great tool to get the conversation started. Yep, you can keep moving, Mark. That's just more of the organizer. Keep moving.
That's it.
That's it. Wow. All right. Well, I want to say that I certainly appreciate everybody joining me this morning, taking time out of your business. Like I said, I own an agency too. If you're like me and you're a sole proprietor of the agency, you're doing everything. So I know it's a lot to take your time out. Hopefully this was valuable to you. IAMS is a great support team for this program. And at that, I think, Mark, you probably have a question slide or want to offer an opportunity for questions, and we can go from there.
I do. Thank you, John. Jeff asks, are funds placed in the funeral trust excluded from the 5-year look back?
In the funeral trust, yes. They're excluded immediately.
Okay, I know you answered this question already, but I think Jeff may have come in a little late. He says, when do you sell a traditional final expense policy as opposed to a funeral trust?
Well, that really is going to depend on the client. I mean, if I was talking to a client about this and they said, well, we don't have the money to put into, a lump sum to put into the funeral trust, then I would probably spin that conversation towards a final expense policy. And the reason I say that is usually final expense policies will build cash value, and that will have to be spent down in a nursing home situation where this doesn't have to be.
Okay, you'll notice I just put a poll out there while we're going through these questions. So if you want to get contracted, just go ahead and mark yes, and we'll email you the documents for that here today. Roger asks, can we put whatever the state amount per person is for mom and dad, or just per household?
For mom and dad. So if you've got a married couple and your state limit's $15,000, you can put $30,000. And that's a good question, Roger. And let me say this to you. If you're using a combination of the estate planning trust and the funeral trust, so say you fund their funeral trust and they have other money that they know will be subject to a 5-year look back until we get through the 5 years, it's a combination of premium up to $100,000. So if you have $15,000 in the funeral trust, you can only put $85,000 in the estate planning trust, or you can put the whole $100,000 in the estate planning trust, but they would have to pay their funeral expenses from that first, and then the balance would go to the beneficiaries.
So, John, let's say that you wrote one of these contracts on a Monday. When would you expect commission to be in your account?
Well, it's funny you ask that, Mark, because IAMS, who I've been with for a very, very long time, they have a saying that they are great on submission to commission. And if you send an application into National Guardian Life the way we do, so if we write an app today, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a 2-day USA mail envelope. It's going to get to them on Monday, and on Wednesday we're going to see the commission in our account.
Speedy.
Oh, there's nothing better than submitting an application on a Monday and then on a Thursday seeing that the commissions are in there for the work that you did.
Yep. Roger asks, is there joint underwriting or is it done individually?
Individually.
Okay. And then Gregory asks, can the trust be the beneficiary of the final expense policy?
Of a final expense so I don't know how to answer. If you're talking about the one that you're selling through National Guardian Life, yes. If you're talking about just a traditional one you sell outside of there, no. It has to be funded with the asset guard, and then the asset guard put in the beneficiary is the trust.
Yeah, the only thing I might add is if they wrote a final expense policy with company ABC, then the client would have to go pay to have a trust, drafted up for them, which would cost quite a bit. So.
I work with, like I said, my elder law attorney, and I can just tell you, if you're doing it that way, you're looking $5,000 to $7,000 to get that done.
Yeah. Okay, and Mitch asks, in my town, both funeral homes solicit Lincoln's plan at the NGL training. Will we talk a little bit about other companies?
Really, we won't. My specialty is in National Guardian Life. Again, there's a couple reasons for that. I'm big on loyalty. I'm big on somebody that does a job they say they'll do, and I'm big on results. And since I've had clients who have owned the plan and I've seen the process, I'm very comfortable with National Guardian Life.
Yvette asks if proceeds can be used out of the United States.
Wow, that's a really good question. I would have to get that one answered. One thing you'll love about me, I won't answer something I don't know the answer to, but we can get that answered for you. Mark, can you maybe make a note of that and we can reach out to them?
Yes. Yep. Okay, what else do we have here? Looks like that might be it. All right, so again, you notice that there's a poll up there. If you want to get contracted, you might want to go ahead and select yes here quickly. That way we're sure to get that email over to you with the contracting and the commission. And you'll notice when we email the commission over to you, there's going to be several pages of that. That's because you get compensated based on the rate of interest that you credit to the account. So there's a number of those on there when that comes to. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always call me here at 800-255-5055. John, looks like the question box is empty, so it looks like we'll go ahead and part company here this morning. Thanks again so much for taking time out of the field to do this for us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody that attended. I appreciate it. And if you come out to the training at IAMS in May, I'll certainly be there. If you want to pull me aside and have a conversation, feel free to do that. I'd be anxious to meet you.
Great. And again, thank you all here. We're going to send out this recorded to you here yet today. Should be before 5 p.m. Central, and we'll be following up as well. So if you have any questions or if we can provide you some additional marketing support. Again, our number here is 800-255-5055. Have a great weekend. We'll talk with you all soon.